Hello, everyone. My name is Vinita Anasane. I'm a product manager at Amoeboids Technologies. Welcome to Product Perspective Talks. In this talk, we are going to talk about roadmap management in products with our guest, Mr. Subhasish Sarkar, a senior product manager at BMC Software. Mr. Subhasish has over 15 years of experience working with companies such as Cognizant, UST Global, IBM, and now BMC Software. Hello, Subhasish, and welcome to our podcast today.
Hey, hi, Vinita. Thanks for welcoming me to the podcast. It's a wonderful feeling of being over here.
It's really nice to have you here as well. We are looking forward to learning from your experience.
Sure.
To start with, could you share a bit about your background and how you ended up in product management?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Interesting story. Interesting journey of over 15 years. So I hold a formal education degree in what you call a Bachelor of Technology degree or a BTech degree in Information Technology, IT. And I started my career way back in 2007 um, with an IT company. And so if you do a bit of basic mathematics, I think I have a total as well as relevant work experience of a little over 15 years uh, in the IT industry. Now, all my experience into the IT industry have been with what we call the IBM Z mainframe computing platform. So I am a mainframer, hardcore by heart mainframer. I have always been a mainframer. Now, when I talk about mainframes, I have actually over the past 15 years, I have um, worked on many different roles. So I started my career as an application developer or programmer. I have done QA roles, I have done automation engineer roles, and also I have done system programming, right? And this spans multiple industries. So starting from healthcare, then travel and transportation, so mostly the airlines industry, then energy and utility sector, um, let's see, and then banking and financial, right? And so on and so forth. Now, all this experience that I've been talking about till now, these trace back to my days when I was part of what you call the service or the outsourcing industry, right? Then I think I think 7.5 years before, I got a chance to work with my present employer, which, by the way, I think most of you who listens to this podcast know that it is a software product company.
Yes.
We develop enterprise software solutions. So when I got a chance to work with my present employer, I basically started as a QA. I have also performed the roles of a system administrator or a system programmer, if you can call it. And then I have also been into the role of an automation engineer. Right. And as I was gaining experience into those roles, by the way, my organization deals with a lot of products in its portfolio. I mean, we have got tons and tons of products in our portfolio. So as I was gaining experience in those roles that I was talking about just a few minutes before, um, I was always amazed at how the management of these huge number of products happen in the background, right? So that always used to amaze me. And I always wanted to be a part of that journey. I always wanted to be a part of that complexity, if you may call it. I wanted to be a product manager. So in fact, when I actually got an opportunity to transition into the role of a product manager in my current organization, well, I'll say that I was not at all ashamed to say yes. I immediately took the spot, grabbed the spot, and yeah, so I became a product manager by choice, and I love doing the job. That's what I feel is most important. I love doing the job. As with all my previous roles, I love being into the shoes of a product manager. Yeah, so uh,
That's nice.
uh, that's probably not a bit, but a fair share about me.
Yes,
Right.
I guess like
Yeah.
all the experience, through various roles and industries,
Yeah.
all that experience has culminated and helped you in your role to achieve the role of product
Right.
manager, and also to perform in it. And I think that it's a very valuable thing to have that kind of experience as a QA, as a developer, as a
Yeah.
analyst, as a with various different because you're able to see from since you have to work with so many contributors and stakeholders. I think it's easier to step into their shoes to understand what they are expecting and hence provide for their needs as well.
Exactly. I mean, that's a very important point because product managers actually come from different backgrounds.
Right.
I have seen product managers with no technical background whatsoever, right? I mean, they can come from purely business background as well. But, I, and I'm not calling this a generic statement, but for me, this has worked very well that all my previous experience have been into hardcore technical roles.
Right.
Maybe it's a development role, it's a QA role, or it's an automation engineer role, system programming role, but those were all hardcore technical roles and responsibilities that I played in my past life before becoming a product manager. Right now, I feel that all those experience is helping me by a huge margin, if you can call it, when I interact with the team members, when I talk to developers, when I talk to QA people. So that experience really gives you, at least in my case, a bit of an added advantage.
Right. Right. Like talking about your work, like how do you prioritize your work? Like, could you share with us a few ideas on, how do you make sure that the way you prioritize your work also helps deliver value to your company?
Yeah, right. Good question. I mean, and in fact, I think prioritization is one of the most important skills that a product manager has to excel at.
Yes.
It's a skill which probably no one is going to perfect, but at least everybody has to try to perfect it.
Right.
Similarly, for me also, there are a lot of techniques actually that I tend to employ in order to prioritize the work. I probably, it's not possible for me to cover all the techniques, but I'll try to cover all the basic important techniques that I follow. So if, for example, the first priority, and this is probably the ABCs of product management, um, the internally generated ideas versus the customer submitted or customer generated or customer driven ideas. So
Right.
what I mean by internal ideas is, you, there are people working within the organization, for example, a developer or a QA who might have a very good idea.
Right.
And he might come to me, or he or she might come to me and say, hey, this is the idea which I have got, and I have got a list of those ideas, right?
Yes.
Also, our customers come up with a list of ideas.
Yes.
Now, it's very common sense that almost all the time, I guess 99% of the time, the customer driven ideas will obviously be given or assigned a higher priority than the internally generated ones. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm neglecting the internally generated ideas, because you cannot do that. The team gets demotivated, and
Right.
over a certain period of time, you will never generate any internal ideas at all.
Yes.
I'm not saying that we have to reject the internal ideas, but then they are probably given a lower priority. There are times of the year when you are probably lighter on your work, or a new developer has joined in. Those ideas are type of ideas which you can actually give to a new developer in order to help him or her understand the product, right? And,
Yes.
and gain an overall perspective. But yes, the customer ideas are obviously given higher priority. That is number one. Number two is there are, we have processes, tools, and techniques in place wherein customers can actually submit their ideas on our public community ideas profile page.
Okay.
Site. Yeah, right. So we get a lot of ideas coming in from the customers, and these are not the internal customers. These are specifically customer ideas. We get a lot of ideas coming in through our communities, public community site. Right now, we also have a feature on the site wherein, say, a particular customer A has posted one particular idea. We keep the idea posted on the community for a certain duration of time, say for maybe a month. And then all the other customers can actually come and vote on that idea.
Okay.
So even though customer A has submitted the idea, customer B, C, D, and E feel that this idea, when implemented, is also going to benefit them, right? So we have the customers can vote on these ideas and then say at the end of the month, I'm just giving a rough example. At the end of the month, I have a list of 10 ideas coming from customers, but then 5 of those ideas have been really voted very high, right? So they have scored very high in terms of votes. So in the immediate next sprint or next release, we will take up those 5 ideas and we will keep the other 5 ideas for probably the next sprint. Now remember, these are all customer ideas, but then some customer ideas are really important as per the customers themselves. So we pool those ideas first, and then the other customer ideas which the customers think that these are important but not that important, we take them in a later sprint or release. Now the third scenario that we come across is competitive replacements, right? Now you are replacing a competitive product. Now when the customer says that I'm buying your products, it doesn't mean that the deal is closed and the product is bought in 1 month and is implemented in production. It never happens like that, right? So when the customer tries to replace a competitor, they will come to us and say that, hey, I'm interested in your product, but let's do a POC in our development environment or in our whatever sandbox environment. Now when that POC is in progress, suppose there are impediments or maybe there are issues which the customer has realized or found out, which actually causes the overall POC to go on hold. Right? Now that is a very important consideration which as a product manager I have to keep in mind, right? It's a deal which is going to be closed, and for the deal to be closed, the POC has to be closed, right? But the POC cannot move forward because my customer has found 5 or 6 different problems in the product. Now the immediate priority becomes for me is to get those issues fixed for the customer so that the POC goes ahead and hopefully the deal closes, right? So competitive replacement is very important. Number 4 is on similar terms, but say the deal has already closed, right? We have made a competitive replacement. We have replaced a competitor. The deal has closed. Now the customer is trying to implement the product or solution in their production environment. Now there are situations when probably while doing the POC in their development environment, everything went fine. But production and development environments are different giants altogether, right? So suppose during the actual implementation of the product or solution in production environment, 2 or 3 different issues came up, which never came up during the POC stage. Now, as a product manager, I have to prioritize those ideas first, right? Because the customer is in the process of implementing the product in the production. And this becomes even more important when, say, the customer hasn't implemented my product or my solution yet into the environment, but he is already using my competitor's product, right? And say the competitor renewal time is coming up very shortly, say within the next 3 months, and we have already hit a roadblock with 2 or 3 different issues. Now the customer, it's evident that unless we are able to fix those issues, the customer has already paid us. They also have to pay the competitor for maybe for the next year. So it's a double payment for the customer, right?
Right.
So there is no other option. Keep all the other work, aside, except very important work, but give these things more
Most
priority.
Yes.
Yeah, right. The other situation I can think of is, and this situation doesn't happen. The situation that I'm going to talk about now doesn't happen much often, but it happens. Mergers and acquisitions, right?
Yes.
So as part of the merger, say my organization acquires some solutions from the company which it has acquired. Those are in similar lines. Those are on similar lines. Say cloud solutions, right? Now, what we tend to do is after the merger, we take the best technologies from both the worlds, right? Quote unquote. And then we try to combine those technologies and make our products even better.
Right.
Right. Now, what happens is the merger has happened now. Say we have acquired company ABC. Now there were customers of company ABC who had brought the older product of customer ABC.
Right.
Those products are still in use in the customer's environment. But after the merger and acquisition, we have improved our product to the next level. Now, what we want to do is we want to tell the customer, boss, you are using an older version of the product. After the merger, after the acquisition, we have improved the product to a greater degree. So why don't you use this new product? Now we have to remember that in such cases we are trying to push the customer in terms of upgrading their environment to use the latest and greatest feature. Now while doing that, again the customer hits some roadblocks. Then we have to take care of those roadblocks, right? Because it's in our interest. We have pushed the customer. We have told them, upgrade your old product to the newer product. And then if you are hitting some roadblocks, it's upon us to clear those roadblocks. So those also tend to take,
Migrations
sometimes
always take some
time. So, right. And also those issues that come up during the migration also takes higher priority.
Yes.
Number 6 is currency and technical debts, right? So technically currency is, you are always expected to be current with the latest technological advancements, trends, and all those things. I mean, that's a no-brainer. You have to keep your product current. But there are technical dates, but technical dates sometimes I have heard, and I think in a way it's justified. Technical debt is considered a cost to doing business, right? I mean, we are not really, if you think in terms of our customers, they are really not gaining much from clearing our technical debts.
Yes.
But we have to do those in order to keep our products relevant. Maybe we are using such a back level technology which has probably been pulled out of support, and if we still keep our products on such backdated unsupported technologies, and if it breaks down, then our entire product breaks down.
Right.
So so technical debt, I hope for product managers, they don't allow the technical debts to get out of their hands, right? We should always keep the technical debts under control, or else what I have seen situations wherein there are more important things for you to do, but then you have been pushed to such a boundary that you have to now tackle your technical debts, or else your your product or solution will actually stop working. Now, this is a situation wherein you have other important things to do, but you cannot do them because you have neglected your technical debts all throughout. So
this would fall under that not urgent but important category.
Right. And for me, it's like, you don't have to do the technical debt now, but then again, you cannot neglect it to a point wherein you are forced to do it.
Correct.
Right. And you have other important tasks which you have to neglect just to do the technical debts. You cannot be in a situation. Number 7 would be, and I should have talked about this number 7 at the beginning actually. High priority, high impact, high visibility, high severity issues in the customer environment. These are simply issues or defects in the customer environment which prevents them from doing business, or which prevents them from serving their own customers. Those are highly critical issues. If they come up, leave everything else and tackle those first. I think it's very simple. This should actually be the number one point. In fact, I mean, above everything else, this has to be fixed first and then everything else.
Yes, I think I agree. That was quite a comprehensive list of,
Yeah.
prioritization techniques
Right.
that you provided us with. And I think especially, the way you escalated them in terms of importance, that was very helpful in understanding, okay, first comes this and then this and then this.
Right.
And I think that would really help our viewers to understand and learn more from your experience regarding prioritization of your day-to-day tasks.
Right.
Now, I really like the way you spoke about the customers and how you
Mhm.
handle the customer requests and the different sources in which you collect information or feature ideas from the customers.
Right.
Right? So, moving on to the next question, like how do you plug in these customer ideas into your roadmap for your product? Like,
Right.
like you said, since priority keeps changing, our roadmap has to be dynamic and keep changing. So then how do you plug these, keep changing and plugging these ideas into your roadmap?
Yeah, I mean, very good question, because ultimately at the end of the day, we exist because of our customers, right?
Yeah.
So um, we have to listen to our customers. We have to listen to them very carefully, and we have to gather whatever feedback they have from us. And if we just gather the feedback and do nothing, that's of no use. Ultimately, we have to incorporate their feedback, the customers' feedback, into the product roadmap, so that eventually at the end of the day, um, I can develop my product. I can develop my product to a level which the customers expect to use it in a way,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So there are a lot of techniques that I'll say I employ to gather customer feedback, and then eventually incorporate those feedback into the product roadmap. Number one is, and this is not list of you have to do number one first, number two first. This is just a general list
Yes.
I'm providing. And number one would be, and I've spoken about this point in my answer to your previous question as well. We have a public community space
Yes.
in place, wherein customers interact with us and share their feedback over that public forum, right? So that's a very good way of collecting customer feedback, generically. And also, when one particular customer posts an idea, maybe say an idea, then other customers can also vote on that idea. So we have a fair amount of understanding as to what ideas are really important for our greater community of customers. So our public community space is really a good way to gather customer feedback. Number two would be, we have different tools, techniques, processes, mechanisms, whatever you call it, in place by which our customers can choose to reach out to us privately if they do not want to go the public route, right? Uh, they can reach out to us privately, and they tell us about their feedback, what they need from us, um, and and that is also a very good way to gather the customer sentiment, customer feedback. um, Number three would be, customers engage with different levels of representations within our own organization. For example, they will interact with the pre-sales people, sales representatives, customer support representatives, etc. Now, as a product manager, I work very closely with all of these internal stakeholders, right? Pre-sales, sales, customer support, so that and as a product manager, I always don't get a chance to talk to our customers directly. These people do customer interaction each and every day. That is their job, right? So as a product manager, I think it's my duty and responsibility to work with these internal stakeholders very closely, so that I can understand what our customers are trying to tell us, what their pain points are, and then use that information to streamline my product roadmap.
Okay.
as well as prioritize it, right?
Right.
Number 4 would be, and the previous 3 points are, if I may call them, indirect ways of interacting with your customer, right? And the 4th point would be direct ways, more direct ways, on-site customer visits, customer calls, briefings, etc. Now, when you get into with a customer call or a customer briefing, or you pay a visit to the customer on site, those are more direct ways of coming in touch with your customer, understanding them more closely, interacting with them. And I have seen that personal face-to-face interactions are always, almost 99% of the times, more valuable than a Zoom call or a Microsoft Teams call or a virtual call, whatever. When you talk to your customer, new sales opportunities come up. I mean, this literally happens. When you talk to your customer, new sales opportunities come up. Then you get to know their actual pain points, which sometimes you tend to miss over those virtual calls. And then you have a very broad understanding of what they want. You understand their technical environment, their operational environment, and then take your decision accordingly, how to incorporate their feedback into the product roadmap, and how to prioritize your product roadmap. So number 5 would be health checks. We do something called health checks. Now, health checks are done on a customer's technical and/or operational environments, right? um, our pre-sales representatives or customer support representatives do these health checks. Now, these are very important tools for us. Number one, to share with the customer how they should be using our products. For example, they might be using only 2 or 3 features of our products, and they are neglecting other 5 important features. This is a platform where we can guide them. You are using these 2 features, but then also you might think about using these other 5 features. Right? That is a good platform for us to interact with the customers. And also, since it's a face-to-face interaction, gather their feedback, gather their pain point, and then incorporate those feedback into the product roadmap.
Right, that makes sense.
Right.
Pitch ideas.
Exactly.
Which you are anyway like addressing their pain points. You can also use the ideas that we currently have.
Right. And number 6 would be, again, not very frequent, but these happen with all the product companies. This happen. It's you deliver webinars, general technical deep dive sessions on product in general, and then and specific products and functionalities, right? We do this for 2 things. First of all, for obviously for imparting knowledge. Even though a customer owns a license for a particular product or a solution, we know that the customer doesn't use all the features and functionalities. No customer probably uses all the features and functionalities of your product. So though these webinars, these technical sessions, deep dive sessions are a good way to impart that knowledge. And then also it opens up a channel of communication, further communication, wherein we have heard saying that, I never knew that particular feature existed in your product. So now I know about it. I'm trying to use it, but then I think that you could do a little better if you could add these 2 or 3 different things. Then you have already opened the door of channelizing customer feedback directly into your product roadmap. You have opened that door. Number 7 is, another very important is surveys, right? We do surveys, NPS, ease of doing business. There are a lot of surveys that we do. And these surveys are a very good way of gauging our customer sentiments, what they like about our product, what they probably, I won't say dislike, but what they probably feel that should be improved, so that we can increase their discontent to a level of content. Right.
I think even being heard is very important. So surveys help us to be being heard.
Because in surveys you tend to gather very generic to very specific feedback. And obviously their sentiment, right? So and obviously understand their pain points. So all these important data, they are really important for product managers to analyze, focus on, and then incorporate into the into the
Wow.
product roadmap. Yeah,
Right.
right. So I think, yeah, and some other things that I might think of is, um, and this is not very common, but anyways, I'll touch on this. Industry renowned technical conferences, events, and seminars, right? We do tend to visit these technical conferences and seminars in person. It's a great platform for us to showcase our portfolio and then also interact with our customers directly,
Okay.
so that you can hear what they have to say, hear their pain points, understand their pain points, and then take that feedback and prioritize your product roadmap accordingly. And then I think the final point that I will say is, uh, I think I've covered almost all the things that I can think of at this point in time. The final point is, our organization, we have, we host customers, and those are not only our present customers, but we also host prospective customers in what we call our world class, we call them customer experience centers, right?
Okay.
And these are spread across different geographies, in different cities across the globe, within our internal office premises. So
Okay.
we take the privilege of hosting our customers, including prospective customers, in these customer experience centers,
Okay.
and understand their pain points, gather feedback, whatever.
Okay.
And in important statistics, interesting statistics, what we have noticed is, customers who come into the experience center, and this is a very powerful statistics, when they come out, when they come in, say with a confidence score of, say, 7 out of 10, for our products and solutions. But when after the briefing they go out of the customer center, I mean, they go out of BMC, it has been found that statistically, on average, the customers, what you call the confidence score, increases by 25 to 30%. So they came in with a confidence score of 7, they will probably go out with a confidence score of 8.5 to 9. So it's a very important thing for us to host our customers and be able to directly listen to them, right? That's the most important thing. I think these are some of the different techniques that I use to gather customer feedback and then eventually incorporate them into the product roadmap.
Right. I think that's one thing that no amount of artificial intelligence can take away, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Coming in
Right.
touch,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
interacting with the customers.
Right. Right.
So speaking about artificial intelligence, like what is the new trend or technological development that you are excited about when it comes to product management?
Okay, so that's an interesting question, actually. I have to think about it a bit. So, but I'll say that, like everything else in today's world, the field of product management keeps on changing too.
Right.
It keeps on evolving continuously, and more importantly, at a very rapid pace. Technology changes, they say, at the blink of an eye today. So, but some of the trends and or developments in the field of product management that I personally am very excited about are, number one, agile development practices, right, which are gaining more and more popularity and adoption across the product management industry.
Right.
Number two is, significant rise and adoption of the principles of design thinking, right, which is, as I see it, design thinking is an approach to, again, problem solving, focusing on understanding the users and their needs, right? But I am seeing a tremendous focus on the principles of design thinking, which is, I'll say, a very positive sign, right?
Yes.
Whatever we can do to help our customers is always welcome. Number three would be, I'll say, significant demand. So you said AI, and it would be a grave injustice if I don't touch upon the term data analysis. But that is my third point. Significant demand for data analysis and mining skills in product managers. This is what I am seeing. Uh, seeing to be growing, I'll say exponentially. You know, people expect product managers to acquire skills by which they can derive meaningful insights from raw and bulk data. So I'll say it's a skill that all product managers should start to focus on among all other necessary skills, because I think this is a skill of the future, more and more required.
I think like earlier, like how we used to use AI for very specific, intelligence purposes, like in Army, Navy, or maybe statistics or logistics.
Exactly.
Now it is used even in Swiggy and Amazon and every single app that you possibly use on a day-to-day basis. Right?
Exactly.
Similarly, for product managers, having that skill to identify algorithms, which algorithms or which AI algorithms have to be used for which particular case has somewhat become a necessity, because as we evolve and as we collect, more and more customer data, I think it is expected of us to understand that data and be able to convert that into some sort of insights, like you said, so that our developers can implement it for our as analytics for our customers.
Yeah, absolutely true. I mean, and not only you need to understand the artificial intelligence, machine learning algorithms. I was also referring to the data analysis and mining skill in general, right? Now, as product managers, we are flooded with data, sales data, marketing data. I mean, we just are buried under tons and tons of data. Now, the expectation is you should have skills, data analysis and mining skills, by which you can actually make meaningful insight out of those data, so that eventually at the end of the day you can take decisions which can take your product forward and make it stand out from the competition, right? Right. And number 4, or another pretty interesting trend that I notice is rise in the adoption and use of different cloud-based product management solutions, right? Now, for example, if I talk to product managers who probably started their career 10 or 15 years before, most of their work would be Excel, PowerPoint, Microsoft Word, those text editing software solutions at the max. But I think at this day and age, product managers are over flooded, flooded with with the supply of different cloud-based product management solutions, and that is great. I mean, the more technology we have at our disposal to make our life easier, the greater we can focus on the more important stuffs. Right. Yeah. And I'll say a final trend which I have noticed is, as product managers, I feel that there has been a meteoric rise in expectations from us, from product managers, to possess a wide range of cross-functional skills. You call it from engineering and design to helping in sales, sales operations, marketing and operations. Now, product managers are increasingly being expected to be able to effectively work and coordinate across teams and functions, right? So that is, I don't know whether to call it a new trend, but this is certainly what I've noticed is you have to have 10 hands, right? Two hands are not sufficient anymore. So you have to have 10 hands, and then at the same time, you have to have the ability to use those 10 hands. So yeah, I think these are some of the trends and techniques that I've noticed over the years.
Yes, I think I completely agree with you. Like product managers have to be cross-functional, have to be able to coordinate and communicate, most importantly, with stakeholders in a way that gets our work done and as well as their work done.
Right. I mean, we as product managers, we are always in an interesting situation, right? I mean, we have to work with all these stakeholders, and none of them report to us.
Yes.
That's true. Yes. Yeah. So you have to get the work done. How? That's one of the skills that product managers have, probably. But yeah, that's life, and that's your job as a product manager.
Right. Thank you so much, Subhasish. It was very interesting talking to you and learning
Yeah.
from your experience.
Right.
And all the points that you discussed today were extremely valuable to us, as even to me as a new product manager. I think I learned a lot from your prioritization skills, from the way you collect customer feedback and the way you plug it in.
Yeah.
I think I learned a lot from that as well. And thank you to our viewers who are watching this. I'm sure you're gained amount of knowledge from the talks that we had with Subhashish today. And to end with, thank you so much, Subhashish, for coming online with us and sharing your knowledge and experience.
Well, let me thank you, the team, for inviting me, and it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I mean, it was really fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you so much for our viewers. If you would like to know more about Product Perspective Talks, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can also follow us on LinkedIn to know more about Product Perspective Talks as well as Project Management Talks. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.